So how do we graph piecewise function? Okay. Again, when we say piecewise function, you're referring to two or more functions. It contains of two or more functions. So for example, f of x is equal to x squared with condition x less than 0, and then 3/4 x minus 2 with the condition x greater than 0. So to graph a piecewise function, okay, first we need to identify the first function and then the second function. So your first function is f of x equals x squared, and then the second function is f of x equals to 3/4 x minus 2. Okay? So to graph a piecewise function, you need to assign tables. Okay? Make a table. So you need to make a table values. So for the first function, so we need to come up with the table values. Okay? But the question is, what particular x value we need to write? Okay? So going back to the condition, in your first function, the condition is x less than 0. So meaning, we need to choose those numbers which is less than 0. But in this particular example, you need to include the given. Okay? So the numbers are 0 to negative infinity. So we have 0, negative 1, negative 2. Okay? So those are the numbers that we need to use. Okay? So f of x is equal to x squared is the same as y equals x squared. Remember that f of x is equal to y. Okay? So if x is 0, what is the value of y? If x is 0, what is the value of y? Anyone? If x is 0, what is the value of y? Okay, 0. If x is negative 1, what is the value of y? If x is negative 1, what is the value of y? Okay, 1. If x is negative 2, what is the value of y? Okay, 4. Okay? So we need to plot those ordered pairs. Okay? So we need to plot those ordered pairs. So we have 0, 0, so in the middle. Okay? And then we have negative 1, 1 here. And then we have negative 2, and then 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. Okay? So going back to the condition, x must be x must be less than 0. X must be less than 0. So meaning 0 is not included. So you need to come up with an open circle. Okay? Because it's a condition, that's a condition. X is less than 0. So meaning 0, it's not included. So you need to draw an open circle. Okay? And then you connect the points. Okay? So that is the graph of the first function. So that's the graph of the first function. What about the second function? So the second function is f of x is equal to 3/4 x minus 2. It's a linear function. So to graph that, again, we need to assign values of x. So we need to construct a table values. Okay? So we need to come up with a table value. Okay? So we need to assign values of x. So the question is, what particular values of x that we need to put there? Okay, so go back to the condition of your second function. So the condition of the second function is x must be greater than equal to 0. X must be greater than equal to 0. So meaning, we need to choose the values of x which in what? With this condition, x must be greater than equal to 0. So what are those values that we need to choose? So we need to choose 0 to positive infinity. So we have 0, 1, 2, and then so on. Okay, so it's up to you. So if x is 0, what is the value of y in your second function? Okay, negative 2. If x is 1, what is the value of y? If x is 1, what is the value of y? If x is 1, okay, negative 5/4. If x is 2, what is the value of y? If x is 2, what is the value of y? If x is 2, what is the value of y? Okay, negative 1/2. And then you plot it. Okay, you plot it. So we have 0, negative 2. So we have 0, negative 2 here. And then we have 1, and then 5/4, negative 5/4. Negative 5/4 is located between between negative 1 and negative 2. So more or less here. Okay. And then 2 and then negative 1/2. Obviously, it's between 0 and negative 1. So more or less here. Okay. So going back to the condition, x must be greater than equal to 0. So meaning 0 is included. So we need to draw a shaded circle here. Okay? Because this is your 0. 0, 1, 2, 0, negative 1, negative 2. So we need to include 0. Okay? And then you connect the dot. You connect the points or dots. Okay? So that's the graph of the second function. Now, how do we determine the domain and range of the given function? So in determining the domain of the given function, okay, you can focus on the conditions, okay, or on the graph, okay, on the graph or on the given conditions. So in the given condition, x is less than 0 and x is greater than equal to 0. So what is your domain? Could be anything on the x values? Could be anything on the x values? Meaning we need to all the possible values of x are included based on the condition. Okay, yes. So based on the condition, so all possible values of x are included. So meaning your domain will be from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay. So negative infinity. So negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay. So that is your domain. What about the range? Okay. So for the range, you need to select the lowest value of y. Okay. So we have positive infinity going to the negative infinity. Okay. So y values. So what is the lowest value of y in this particular example? It's the lowest value. So the lowest value is negative 2. Okay. So negative 2 going where? Going where? Going where? Going what direction? Is it upward or downward? Based on the graph. Okay, positive infinity. Okay, positive infinity. So that's how we graph a piecewise function. Again, in graphing a piecewise function, okay, you need to determine the first function, and then the second function, and then make a table values. Okay, make a table values in each function. And then to assign the values of x, you need to check your given condition. Okay, you need to check your given condition. So that's how we graph piecewise function. Okay. Now, any more question? How do we graph piecewise function? Question? Any more question? How do we graph piecewise function? Hello? Is it clear? Or you want another example? Hello, people? Is it clear or you want another example? Hello? Isa pa pong example. Okay, no problem. So another example on how do we graph piecewise function. Okay, so f of x is equal to 5, and with the condition x is less than 0, and then the other one is f of x is equal to x plus 1 with the condition x must be greater than 0. Okay, so same thing, we need to identify the two given functions. So the first function is f of x equals 5, and then the other one is f of x is equal to x plus 1. Okay, so same thing, how do we graph those functions? Of course, we need to sign, or we need to make table values. Okay, but in this example, f of x equals 5, okay, it's a constant function. Okay, constant function. Okay, because the only given is a constant. When we say constant, you're referring to a number. So f of x is equal to 5 is the same as y equals 5. Okay, so the graph of that function is horizontal line. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the graph of the first function. Okay, okay, it's a horizontal line. Now going back to the condition, okay, x must be less than 0. The condition is x must be less than 0. If this is the graph of the first function, which is f of x equals 5, which part of this graph is not included? Okay, based on the condition, which part of that graph is not included? Based on the condition, x must be less than 0. So which part is not included? Okay, yung first quadrant. Okay, this one. The right side. That's not included. Okay. Now, the condition is x less than 0. So meaning 0, okay, 0, this point, is not included. So we need to draw an open circle. Okay, an open circle, meaning 0, it's not included. Okay, so you need to draw an open circle. Okay, next, f of x equals x plus 1. So same thing, we need to draw or we need to come up with a table value. Okay, table values. So which values we need to select for x? Okay, so going back to the condition is x must be greater than equal to 0. So the possible values that we need to use are greater than equal to 0. So what are those? 0 to positive infinity. So those are 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So if x is 0, what is the value of y? In the second function. If x is 0, what's the value of y? What's the value of y? If x is 0. Okay, 1. If x is 1, what is the value of y? Okay, 2. And then if x is 2, the value of y is 3. Then you plot those. So we have 0, 1. And then we have 1, 2. And then 2, 3. So that's the graph. Okay. So going back to the condition, x is greater than equal to 0. So meaning 0 is included. So it should be shaded circle. Okay? So what will be your domain? So your domain could be anything in the x values. Okay? Could be anything in the x values. So therefore, your domain is from negative infinity to positive infinity. Now, what about the range? What about the range? What about the range? What about the range? Okay, so we have 1 to positive infinity. Okay, so 1 to positive infinity. Okay, so from this point going up, okay, from this point going up, okay, meaning 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are included. Okay, so that will be 1 to positive infinity. Okay, question.